Hello, welcome to Understanding Your Benefits, Primary versus Contingent Beneficiaries Explained. Today, we will be discussing primary versus contingent beneficiaries. This video might be helpful for those filling out the beneficiary change form, the new member enrollment form, and the retirement application. So, what is the difference between a primary and contingent beneficiary? In the case of your passing away, the primary beneficiary or beneficiaries is the person or entity with the first claim to your benefits, for example, a pension benefit or a lump sum payout. The benefit can be divided among multiple primary beneficiaries using percentages. The contingent beneficiary or beneficiaries are the next in line to inherit the benefit or lump sum payout. A contingent beneficiary would receive the benefit only if the primary beneficiary were deceased. The benefit can be divided among multiple contingent beneficiaries using percentages. It is important to keep your beneficiary information up to date, for example, in the event of a birth, marriage, or death. When designating or changing your beneficiaries, you must clearly mark whether you are designating the person as a primary or contingent beneficiary. You must also designate the percentage you want each person to receive. Do not leave any of the sections incomplete. Note, all proportions for primary beneficiaries and all proportions for contingent beneficiaries must add up to 100%. This means that if you have more than one primary beneficiary and more than one contingent beneficiary, the two separate categories must add up to 100%. In this example, there is one primary beneficiary equaling to 100% and two contingent beneficiaries, each at 50%, adding up to 100%. Now, let's go through some examples. We will go through the following scenarios: one primary beneficiary, one contingent beneficiary. One primary beneficiary, multiple contingent beneficiaries. One primary beneficiary, no contingent beneficiaries. Multiple primary beneficiaries, one contingent beneficiary. Multiple primary beneficiaries, multiple contingent beneficiaries. Multiple primary beneficiaries, no contingent beneficiaries. If you are designating one primary beneficiary and one contingent beneficiary, you would fill out the primary information, check primary, and then check all. Then, fill out the contingent beneficiary's information, check contingent, and then check all. In this example, the spouse was designated as the primary beneficiary at 100%, and the child was designated as the contingent beneficiary at 100%. If you are designating one primary beneficiary and multiple contingent beneficiaries, you would fill out the primary beneficiary's information, mark their designation as primary, and then mark the proportion as all. Then, fill out the contingent beneficiary's information, mark them as contingent, and fill out each percentage, making sure these all add up to 100%. In this example, the spouse was designated as the primary beneficiary at 100%, and the two children were designated as the contingent beneficiaries, each at 50%, adding up to 100%. Let's say that you are only designating one primary beneficiary and no contingent beneficiaries. You would fill out the beneficiary information, check primary under the designation, and then check all under proportion. You would not fill out any information for contingent beneficiaries. In this example, the spouse is designated as the primary beneficiary at 100% and no contingent beneficiaries were designated. Please note that a primary designated beneficiary is not the default designation. You must check the box marking the designation. Please also note if the primary beneficiaries is or are deceased and there is no contingent beneficiary designated, the retirement board will review the situation and make a determination on the distribution of funds in accordance with the board's policy. If you are designating multiple primary beneficiaries and one contingent beneficiary, you would fill out the information for the primary beneficiaries, mark their designations as primary, and fill out each percentage, making sure all of these add up to 100%. Then, fill out the contingent information, designate them as contingent, and mark the proportion as all. In this example, the spouse is designated as a primary beneficiary designated at 75%, and the child is also a primary beneficiary designated at 25%. Added together, this equals 100%. The sibling is designated as a contingent at 100%. If you are designating multiple primary beneficiaries and multiple contingent beneficiaries, you would fill out the information for the primary beneficiaries, mark all of their designations as primary, and fill out each percentage, making sure all of these add to 100%. Then, fill out the contingent beneficiaries information, designate them all as contingent, and fill out each percentage, ensuring all contingent beneficiaries' percentages add up to 100%. In this example, the spouse and sibling are primary beneficiaries at 75 and 25% respectively. Added up, this equals 100%. The contingent beneficiaries are 3 children, with the proportions being 34%, 33%, and 33%, which added up equals 100%. If you are designating multiple primary beneficiaries and no contingent beneficiaries, you would fill out the information for those people, mark all their designations as primary, and fill out each percentage, making sure all of these add up to 100%. You would not fill out any information for contingent beneficiaries. In this example, the spouse and the child are designated as primary beneficiaries at 75% and 25% respectively, which added up equals 100%. There is no contingent beneficiary designated. Please note, if the primary beneficiaries is or are deceased and there is no contingent beneficiary designated, the retirement board will review the situation and make a determination on the distribution of funds in accordance with the board's policy. When designating or changing your beneficiaries, make sure to clearly mark whether you are designating the person as a primary or contingent beneficiary. Again, keep your beneficiary information up to date, for example, in the event of a birth, marriage, or death. Please be sure to review your beneficiaries on file at least once a year to make sure your designations are current. You can find forms and more information about retirement at mass.gov/retirement. If you have any questions, you can contact the Retirement Board Monday through Friday, except on state holidays, at 617-367-7770 or email us at msrb.tre.state.ma.us. This has been Understanding Your Benefits, Primary versus Contingent Beneficiaries Explained. Thank you for watching.